Okay, it's icebreaker time, so I guess here it goes, and trust me when I say it's been hard to figure out how to start this thing. Hi, I'm Sam. But before I dig in, I want to take a moment to pause and acknowledge that I've been afraid to make this video for almost 3 years, so please excuse any twitching, freezing, or other visually evident discomforts. I am a 26-year-old adventure photographer that recently chose to do something different with my photography. As simple as I can put it, I'd like to pay the bills with a camera in my hand. It's been a goal of mine for a while now. So first, I want to bring it back a bit. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and aside from a brief stint in Seattle, Washington, Portland is the only place I've ever called home. But that changed about 3 weeks ago when my wife, our dog, and I moved to Christchurch, New Zealand. At any other point in my life, moving so far away would have been the most stressful event I could imagine. However, this came after a year that included multiple moves, as well as planning and executing a wedding, although the credit is due to my wife, Emily, for planning the wedding. It also included quitting my career of 4 years. So selling nearly everything I own, hopping on a flight and landing 7,400 miles south has felt more like a cold plunge than anything else. My heart is racing, but there is a resounding state of calm. So what is my history with creativity? Well, the vast majority of my life, I largely didn't think I had a creative bone in my body, but thankfully photography has changed that. Around 5 years ago, during my second year in college, a combination of variables caused me to start shooting photos using a raw photo app on my phone at the time. Soon after that, I bought my first camera because I was hooked, and I promptly started shooting almost exclusively waterfalls near my college town of Eugene. It didn't take long for a couple of realizations to take hold. The first is that I was not very satisfied with what I was shooting, and the second is that I couldn't stop thinking about the mountains and how desperately I wanted access to them. So I became fixated on finding an opportunity to learn how to rock climb and to mountaineer, and over the next couple of years I invested every free second I had and every dollar I could afford into getting out as often as I possibly could. First came rock climbing. It swept me off my feet and it gave me something I'd never felt before: passion. Then mountaineering came, and through it I found the next important puzzle piece: direction. So one of my early mountain climbs, I focused on photography as much as the climbing, and this turned out to be one of the most pivotal and important decisions I'd ever make. A single photo ignited a realization in me. Photography could be so much more dynamic, fluid, and mobile than I had ever realized. And being proud of an image for really the first time, it was pivotal. But how did I get here? Well, there's a clear line in the sand marking the time before that first photo and after it. I dove into the feeling that it gave me in a way I had never done with any other hobby. I found passion and direction, and I began chasing those feelings as often as possible, climbing, backpacking, exploring, and all the while shooting. I'd graduate from college in the midst of the pandemic. I would move back to Portland, and I started taking advantage of the quiet filling the outdoors. Then I met Emily, the woman that I would marry 3 years later, and we fell in love and elevated each other profoundly. After meeting, we started traveling and exploring all the time, visiting places like Peru, Vietnam, Costa Rica, and so many of the quiet corners of the Pacific Northwest, one of which I would use to propose to her 3 years in. Only a few months into our relationship, we'd already schemed the idea of someday moving abroad, and 3 years later, a few months after getting married, we're here. We now live in Christchurch, New Zealand, and it's so exciting. But what's the point? Why am I making this video? Well, this video is the first step of an ambition I've had for years. It's to advance the means I have to tell stories, to be creative, and to develop a feeling of community. It's always felt clear to me that photography means much more than the 4x5 lens it's most often viewed. And I've long known that YouTube would be the ideal platform to be more honest, more vulnerable, and more excited. I'm making this video as a first step, yes, but also as a promise to create more value. I absolutely want to shoot expeditions. I want to spend long hours in the mountains. I want to walk long and far and wide, but I also crave to collaborate. I'll use this channel to educate and provide lessons that I've learned, but I'll also use it as a companion as I grow. The truth is that I am in the early days of my creativity, and I'm still growing a lot. I want to have a more artistic eye and to create more compelling art that stands the test of time. I have a hunch many of you share that same desire. This channel is where we can do it together. It really is. So I want to bring you along on my adventures to the mountaintops, to the jungles, the deserts, and all the places that ignite passion, because I am a believer that our experiences are our most valuable investment. And if I have experiences that I get value from, I believe there are so many reasons to bring you along. There really are. And so to close, it's cool to be doing this, to be spending time with you. It really is. I suppose this is more than anything else a hello, an introduction, and I am excited to see where this thing goes, to produce content that you benefit from and that excites me. I'll be back soon, next week, to do this again with you, but as I leave, I want to leave you with one thought. We've grown accustomed to short seconds together on Instagram and other social media platforms. And if you're listening now, then you likely just spent more time with me than any follower I've ever had, ever has. And that to me is a very, very special thing. So now get out there, have fun, and let's do this again next week. I'll see you guys soon.